Anybody all over the world can go to the online version. It's www.widener.edu/Chester Magazine.
That's great. Now, is there any type of a social interaction or Facebook page or Twitter or anything like that?
Not at this point. We're happy to have the magazine out and online. Maybe as we grow and develop.
Yeah.
This is the first one. We're still getting started, but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. All right. Now, what was the buzz like on campus today? Did people know that this was out there today? Did you get many comments about it?
At the reception, yeah. It was a good turnout for the reception. It was really nice to have everybody come up to you and kind of tell you what a good job you did. And it was nice. It was pretty representative too. There were various professors, various people from the city that came. It was nice.
Now, all three of you obviously did writing for the magazine, for the debut edition. Obviously, that's something pretty close to my heart as someone who writes just about every day. Tell us a little bit about your goals and what you would like to do. Khalil, we'll start with you.
I would say
you can't have my job, by the way. Might not be there next week. You never know.
Well, beyond college, I would like to start with a career in advertising and public relations, or
smart guy.
In addition to perhaps getting some journalism experience.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of being a storyteller. I like the idea of going out into the outside world, seeing what's going on, and being able to share that with the rest of the public.
One of the things that I always tell people when they come in for jobs, really and truly, you just said it. All we really are is storytellers. Now, they take a lot of different formats, but that's all we're doing. Is we tell people stories every day. Maria, what do you want to do?
I'm thinking about going into academia and becoming an English professor.
Ah, there you go. Here at Widener?
I don't know. You never know.
Devin, are you going to head back to Lancaster County?
Hopefully not.
They can see this out there.
I'd like to go into copy editing or publishing. And I'd also like to write a book, but a little farther out there.
All right. You've had the experience, the first inaugural issue of Chester Magazine. Have the Tumblr started clicking yet in terms of here's some stories we ought to tackle? I mean, have you thought about the idea of, hey, what are they going to do with Harris? They're obviously going to be facing, the very likelihood of new and increased competition. What kind of stories do you think that you'd like to see tackled in future issues? Khalil?
That's really interesting. I mean, I would like to see all sorts of stories on some of the upcoming business developments, especially with the Chester Cultural Corridor. I would love to see stories on what kind of people want to come up to Chester, so to say, and add on to that story.
There really is we've tried to give them a lot more coverage, but there is a vibrant artistic community here in the city. There's a big arts community, and you actually, referenced in one of the other stories that's in the magazine, I talk about, one of the great, the secrets of Chester that I'm always talking about. You tell me, what are they ever going to do with the Deschamps Museum? What's going to happen there?
Well,
what do you think should happen?
I think it should be brought back to life. I would love to see people come to the Deschamps Museum. I would love to be able to be among those people who just come in, get to view a nice attraction, and be able to talk about it with other people. Just continue on the conversation of arts in the Chester community.
Maria, anything that you would like to see the magazine sort of tackle in terms of a topic?
We were thinking about doing an education beat early on, in our plans for this issue, because I know Sarah Ferguson, who teaches at one of the elementary schools. Right. I forget which one right now, but she was on Ellen before because she really was a standout when they had the budget problems a couple years ago.
She was invited to one of the State of the Union addresses.
Right, yeah. So I think something to do with maybe the schools would be interesting to see.
Yeah. Devin, what do you think you should go after?
I'd like to see a story about the parks in Chester. When we went on our tour with Mayor Linder and when we went on our photographic journey through Chester, we saw so many parks. I don't even remember how many we saw. There's a ton of them, and they're just, a lot of them are just beautiful.
Not just PPL Park.
Yeah, real parks with fields and trees.
Real green. Professor Starnes, one of the things that I would imagine would happen is that this probably created a little bit of a buzz today. Do you think this is going to sort of put some energy into the magazine course? I mean, you have people saying, hey, is this all part of the course now?
Oh, well, I certainly hope so. I hope it's definitely something that we continue and could do on an annual basis. And, you know, as far as the story ideas go, we wanted to do the story about parks. We talked about education.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were some interesting story ideas about entertainment, like Bill Haley and some of the other entertainers that come from Chester. We talked about maybe a feature story about the soccer team and the Philadelphia Union. And so there are a lot of ideas and a lot of potential for future issues. There's this new barbecue restaurant we can go eat in. And there's, there are a lot of things going on in Chester that we started learning about and hopefully we'll continue to report on.
Mm-hmm. Khalil, I'll start with you on this one because I know it's probably something that you've thought about. But you know, one of the things that always interests me when I'm talking to the kids who are here attending school at Widener and the different places that they come from and matriculate here. Obviously, you have been, here all of your life. Do you feel an obligation as a resident to try to give something back to the city as well?
I do feel an obligation as a resident to give back to the city of Chester. Because it's just been my home. It's all I know, basically. I mean, I would love to just give back to the city of Chester. I really no other words to say other than that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, and we talked a lot about tonight about the secrets of the city of Chester. And I'd encourage everyone, if they ever get the opportunity, and Maria and Devin can probably back me up on this, but you stand here in the middle of this campus, and it is a beautiful campus, and it really is hard to believe that you are right in the middle of an urban area. It is just a great, great green pathway here in the city. All right, now we're going to get to the fun part of the show. We always end up the show the same way. We call this the lightning round, and I'll offer a question, and we'll have each member of the panel give their answer to it. We'll start out on the far end. We'll go with you, Devin. Tell us something people might be surprised at by the city of Chester.
Fatso's Bakery.
In the magazine, they did a piece about all the great eateries that you can find here in the city, and there's not too many sweeter places in Chester than Fatso's. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one of our other classmates, Brittany, woke up at 5 in the morning on a Saturday, I think, just to get in line to get a donut. And they were on the Food Network, I believe, in April.
Yeah, Rick Wilcox and his gang were all over that. Yeah.
And I personally haven't gotten up at 5 in the morning to get a donut yet, but I'm looking into it. So hopefully I'll get to try that out.
Maria, what about surprise? Something that would surprise people in the city of Chester?
I think Loran Bronze, which we also covered. I had no idea it existed before this. I mean, they made a monument, like a World War II monument, that is up in D.C.
Right.
Fantastic.
And anybody that is not familiar with Loran Bronze, it's one of the great, great foundries here in the city of Chester. And if you ever have gone into a Phillies game and have looked there and stood there and admired that Harry Callis statue, that was cast right here at the Loran Bronze here in the city of Chester. Khalil, give me a surprise.
The Chester Cultural Corridor.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about it.
So it's in the downtown area, and it's a planned
In the Braceland.
stretch of area that encourages people to come in and bring arts, bring culture, bring all sorts of life to the city of Chester. And one particular highlight of the district is Andre Cafe Acoustique, a small place at the corner of 5th and Wells Streets where you can watch jazz performers perform. And you're not even in a sort of deck chair style audience style. You're right before the performer as he's playing his or her instruments. And that really just caught my attention as I went on and did the story with the Chester Cultural Corridor.
Great. Sam, what's something you think would surprise people by the city of Chester?
Well, I think the Chester Children's Chorus. I didn't know, I'd heard of it, but I didn't know the extent of it or how long it had been around. And I'm planning in a couple of weeks to take my daughter to one of their holiday concerts.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that. So Maria sold me on that.
Well, here it is in print. It's also online. This is the debut inaugural issue of Chester Magazine product of the communications department in the magazine writing course here at Widener University. My thanks to our panel tonight. We'll start Professor Sam Starnes. Thank you very much for joining us. And three great students who I can tell them, all three of them have a great future ahead of them. We're intimately involved in this first edition of the magazine. Khalil Williams, Maria Klecko, Devin Fiore, thank you very much for your attendance. We will be back here at our home away from home next semester. We'll have we'll give them allow them to have their normal break, but we'll be back in January with another edition here from Freedom Hall. Next week, obviously Thanksgiving week, we will be off on Live from the Newsroom. We'll be back the week after that, and we'll be on as usual. We'll be moving back to our normal night, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Our thanks once again to Widener University and Tim Sapansky and his crew for all their great work here in Communications Center. This is Live from the Newsroom. It's every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll talk to you then. Thanks.